Hey y'all. Hey y'all. All right. Today it looks like it's just going to be me. My name is Teresa Norwood, and I have a couple pages. Some of y'all might already follow Tea Talks with Teresa. And I'm also the founder of a BIPOC, which stands for Association for Intellectually Disabled, Black, Indigenous, and People Oppressed by Color. We're located here in Chicago, Illinois, and we are a nonprofit organization with a mission right now being focused on helping to find missing people, missing people who may possibly be being trafficked, kidnapped, victims of crime. Maybe they just disappeared. Um, and our first program is to bring awareness to missing people of color that may not otherwise get as much social media or news attention as others out there. So I'm going to hop right in and start talking about. Let me make sure my microphone's working. Okay. Start talking about the case that I've been focused on for the past month or so, and it's about a young single mother of 5. Her name is Marissa Carmichael, and she's been missing since the wee hours of the morning of January 14th. She went out for a night of fun with her friends on the evening of the 13th, just to kind of blow off some steam and have a little fun, relax a little. And, apparently things kind of took a turn for the worse for some reason, and she was never seen again. So I have got my stuff going here. Okay. So as you see, I have a picture of her up here. I have lots of pictures, but right now I have the picture that she shared on her Snapchat up the night that she went missing. I believe this was taken at Club 117, or maybe it was taken at the bar, or maybe it was taken at her friend Mo's house. I'm not really quite sure, or maybe even at the Airbnb they were staying at. But that is what she looked like the night and into the morning that she went missing. That's what she was wearing. She had long black and blonde braids. Looks like it might have been pulled up into a ponytail of some sort, and she did have her glasses with her, and so forth. So what I'm going to do today is just kind of, without sounding too boring, I don't have anybody on my panel today with me, but what I'm going to do is just kind of go down some of the things that I do know took place. Just a disclaimer out there, anything that I discuss on my podcast is not necessarily proven to be true in a court of law or with any police department or investigation on a law enforcement level. Some of the details I share with you may be things that I have found on my own. Does not mean that they have been proven to be true either. Some things may be theories, and everything is pretty much from my perspective and how I interpret things that I come across. So, and this is all done for entertainment purposes only, although this is not a joke. This is something that is very serious, and anything that I speak on it from that point of view, from a serious point of view. So, again, everything is alleged. So, again, if you hear a name and you know the person, or you've seen something posted about that person, I'm not trying to incriminate anybody. I'm just going to put the facts out there from how I see them to be, or how I have come across them, or what others have shared, whether it's friends, family, or just simple investigation information that I've come across with others that I worked with on this case for the past month. All right, so let's start with the timeline. Okay, I've kind of gathered some information from over the past month, and this is what I have to share with you. So I do know that in the evening she went out. She had got a ride with her friend Naja, to go out and hang out with her friend Mo and some. I'm not sure if there was other people, but they, all met up. They've all been friends for a really long time. Mo is a promoter that promotes different entertainment. I'll just leave it at that. He's an entertainment promoter for Club 117 and other local clubs in the Greensboro, North Carolina area. And was very close to Marissa and her friends. Let me try to turn this off. And so they were all just kind of getting together to hang out, I guess. Marissa went to take a nap. When they got there, to take a nap before she was going to hit the road to go to the club with Mo and all their friends. You know how that goes. Everybody wants to make sure that they're completely rested up so they can really enjoy their night out. And Naja decided to leave and go and hang out with her boyfriend. And that was pretty much her plan, from what I understand, was to just kind of ride out there with Marissa because her boyfriend lived close by to Mo, and go hang out with her boyfriend. So just to put that out there. So I know there's a lot of questions from people that have been looking into this case as to why Naja may have left Marissa at Mo's house. And from what I understand, it's just because that was pre-planned and she wanted to go and hang out with her boyfriend, which is not unusual. Okay, so after their nap, from what I understand, Marissa and Mo, and I don't know if there's anybody else again, they decided to go to a local bar and or tavern or whatever. I don't know where that was, but they went and, had a few drinks or whatever, hung out. I don't know what they did. And then they went back to, I don't know if they went back to the house, the Airbnb. There's some confusion with that with a lot of people. But then after they left the bar and they went back, I believe a group of them left together and went to Club 117 because that's where everything was happening and popping off for the night. So Marissa's, hanging out with her friends, having a good time. From what I can see in all the videos that I've watched of her, she just had a vivacious personality. She liked to have fun. She liked to dance. She was, that was her scene. And then this is when everything started to get a little bit weird. So this next thing I'm going to share isn't necessarily weird, but this is where it all starts, for me anyways. At about 1:34 in the morning, she starts messaging back and forth with a friend named Jersey. And he was basically, telling her, hey, where you at? Let's link up. And, Marissa was like, yeah, I'm at 117, come through. And so he ended up pulling through at Club 117, and they decided, to hang out. I'm not going to go into detail about what the texts say. I'm sure anybody can go out there and find it themselves. But, basically they would link up and dance or whatever when at the club at times. So they kind of hung out, I guess, for a little bit there. And then something happened where she decided to leave the club with Jersey before the club closed. And I think that was actually what was closer to 1:34 in the morning. I don't know what time Jersey got to the club. It may have been 10, 11, 12. I don't know. So just to make a correction on that, I believe they physically decided to leave the club right before they closed or right before last call. I wasn't there. I'm just kind of sharing the timeline that I've been able to pull together. So her and Jersey decided to leave the club together. Okay. And from what I can see, they may have had some type of flirtatious relationship. So maybe they were just going to go hang out. I know that Jersey had mentioned to her that there was a 2 to 6 and asked if she wanted to go. For those of you that don't know what a 2 to 6 is, it's basically just like an after party. You can go and get liquor and stuff after hours, because most areas, you usually can't buy liquor after 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if it's like that there, but that's what I'm kind of gathering, because they have 2 to 6 a lot out there. And then sometime between 2 a.m. and 3:40 in the morning, something happened between Jersey and Marissa, and they got into some type of argument when they were in the car. I don't know if they ever made it to the Airbnb where the 2 to 6 was, if they ever went in the Airbnb. I really don't know what happened from the time that they left the club 117 to the Airbnb. But basically they got into an argument while they were in the car. Jersey decides to pull into a local Exxon. I believe it's on West Market there in Greensboro. It was an area that Marissa necessarily wasn't familiar with. I'm sure Marissa's frequented Greensboro quite a bit, but she lived in High Point. So, it's not surprising that she didn't know, where she was in the middle of the night. Okay. He asked her to go into the store and get him some Black and Milds or smokes or whatever. And as soon as she gets out of the car, he takes off and leaves her there. But he took off with her stuff. So from what I'm gathering and some things that have come to light, when he took off, he threw out her purse, but still kept her phone. And so she was stranded at the Exxon without a phone, without any money, without any phone numbers. We all know that when we have these, small electronic devices in our hands now, everything's stored in there. We don't have to necessarily remember everything up here. I don't even know anybody's phone numbers. I know my mom's phone number because she's had it since I was little. So that's about it. I don't even know my phone number half the time, or my husband's. So I can totally relate for anybody that's out there questioning, her 911 call, and why she didn't know who to call. Most people don't know and remember phone numbers. So anyways, she went into the store and asked to use the clerk's phone or somebody's phone because she was stranded, and she called 911. And you can actually find the 911 tapes online. I can even play it on my next podcast probably, but she told them that she was stranded. Somebody robbed her. She didn't know where she was. I mean, she obviously knew she was at a gas station, but she didn't know where she was, like what vicinity or how to get home from where she was. She didn't have any way to contact anybody to pick her up. We're talking like 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. She's out in the middle of nowhere and doesn't know how to get home. Okay. Anyways, the police, said they'd send somebody out, and, she got off the phone. Well, as soon as she got off the phone, and you can hear somebody talking to her while she's actually on the phone with 911, but a gentleman by the name of Sean, who is an acquaintance, I believe, not necessarily a friend of Marissa's. There's still some confusion out there, so I don't want to really tarnish his name at all any more than it already has been. But people in the family and some of her friends have said that Sean was stalking her for a while. I don't know. She did end up getting in the car with him because apparently he offered a ride, or I don't know if he, I'm just going to put a little speculation out there. He could have offered her a ride and she took it because, she was stranded and she didn't feel like she had any choice and she just wanted to go home. Or maybe he told her he'd take her to the 2 to 6 where Jersey might be so she could get her phone and go home. Maybe he threatened her when she got out there, and so she got in the car. I don't know if he was outside talking to her, inside the store. I'm not really quite sure. But she left with him, and a lot of people are wondering why did she leave with him if she was afraid? Or, I mean, obviously she knew him, so she must be safe. No, that might not even be the case. I mean, maybe it was a whole setup. Maybe Jersey kicked her out on purpose to have Sean just magically appear and, be the knight in shining armor, or threatened and said, I don't know. There's a whole lot of conspiracy theories going on out there. So I'm just kind of throwing that out there. Okay. So the last time anybody's physically seen Marissa was at that Exxon when she got into the car with Sean. They have it on video of her leaving in the car with Sean. So that's already been confirmed. Greensboro Police Department did come out publicly and make a statement. I believe it was last week. Not a verbal statement that I'm aware of, but they posted on their Facebook website, at least, that Sean, and they didn't even mention his name, but we all know it's more than likely Sean, is a witness, not a suspect, as a witness. Okay, so let's kind of move down this timeline. I feel like I'm kind of all over the board, guys. All right, so Marissa gets in the car with Sean. She doesn't have her phone. She does have her purse. And Sean has Facebook, so she starts calling home, calling her father, calling her mother, calling everybody at the house to say, hey, I'm stuck out here, and I don't know if she was trying to tell them, Ammo Sean, trying to tell them what happened. I don't know what really happened on those calls. We have, me and a group of other folks have talked to some of the people that were involved with that conversation, but yeah, it's still pretty much unclear as to what was going on, other than the fact that she had been robbed, and she basically supposedly rejected some advances from Jersey, and that's why they got into a fight. But I'm not really quite sure what happened in that whole regard. She started calling home probably between 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Eventually, she got through to her father and asked to speak to Naja, because Naja was living with them. And so Naja's the one that talked to her. And that's the last time anybody spoke to her. And this is all from Sean's Facebook Messenger. Okay. So again, later on in the morning, her mother, Sara Carmichael, she wakes up and she realizes that her daughter, Marissa, hasn't come home all night. And, starts to get worried, because her and her mother, they had a very, very close relationship. Apparently Marissa never left the house for that long without keeping in touch. She wasn't the type to just not come home and let somebody know where she was. And it's apparent, if you look at her Facebook posts, her and her mom are back and forth like best friends, back and forth all the time, every day. So I believe that. Some of the stories that have come out have also, put out, some conspiracy theories that she was drugged. Apparently, the way that Naja and Marissa had got out to Greensboro to go to the club, out to Mo's house, was from a ride from Tashia, her cousin by marriage. And there's been some confusion, because they stopped off to get some pills, and she was given a pill or something like that. So there's some conspiracy going on out there about her potentially being drugged. And, so that's another thing that's out there. But so that's something I've been looking at as well. And I'll probably dive a little deeper into that later on. Let's see. So basically, yeah, the mom wakes up, realizes that, her daughter's not home, starts to panic like any mother would. I mean, I'd be a mess. Okay. And so she saw that she had missed some calls from Sean's number, decides to call Sean back. And, I don't know what happened, guys. I pay for two pretty good internet services here. I have a separate one in here in my office, so not sure why I keep having technical difficulties. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Um, she asked Sean the first time she called, where Marissa was, and he said she was sleeping. She called back, and he said that she had went to the store or something. I don't remember if it was she went to the store to get her phone. That's what I kind of vaguely remember somebody saying, or if it was that she walked to the store. And so Sara asked for an address to come pick her up, thinking that Sean's going to give his address, because apparently, he said she was sleeping earlier, so that's where she should be. And he gave her the address that ended up being to a Sheetz. I guess that's a Sheetz is a local fast food establishment, I'm assuming. I don't live in that area because that's in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm in Chicago. So Sara knew that something wasn't right, and I'm not sure if her or her husband or somebody went out to the Sheetz to see if she was there, but apparently she wasn't at Sheetz. And after that, pretty much nobody has come up saying that they knew where she was, that they talked to her. Marissa didn't reach out anymore. Nobody's heard from her since. Okay. Nobody's seen her. Nobody said that they've talked to her. She hasn't posted on her social media. She hasn't had her phone as far as we know. And she's just been kind of missing. Now, word out in the streets over the past month has been that people have supposedly seen her, um, like at different local motels where they're known to have, sex workers, prostitution, and, I know we don't like using those words, but places where sex trafficking is probably taking place. I know that not all SWs, that's what I'm going to call them, are being trafficked, but you'd be surprised to know that a lot of them do start out being coerced, tricked, lied to, forced. The whole definition of human trafficking includes the idea that somebody has either forced you to do something, coerced you to do something, lied to you, or tricked you into believing that you would have a better way of life if you do these particular things for them, whether it's being an SW or smuggling drugs or doing domestic type of work or whatnot. Okay. So because people have come forward and not necessarily, I don't know if they've come forward to detectives, but just in a lot of the group settings and chats that I've been a part of and talking to some of these people, the kind of, what do I want to say? The kind of crowd that she ran with wasn't necessarily on the whole up and up. That's not judging anybody. That's not throwing anybody under the bus or saying that anybody kidnapped her or did anything to her or even did anything to her against her will. But I'm just keeping it real, guys. She wasn't necessarily running with the best group of people. And they may be people that are just trying to make a living, that love what they do. But it also collides with another dark side of our world where exploitation and trafficking exists, and a lot of violence and drugs and who knows what else. So just putting that out there because it's relevant. And I know that it's upset her mom, to kind of talk about things on that level. And I feel for her. I'm a mother and I have 3 grown kids and I have a young 13-year-old still at home. So I can totally empathize and sympathize. And I even cry for her sometimes, but it is what it is. And she ran with a crowd that wasn't really involved with the best type of folks out there in the world. Okay. I've got to consider everything. And, in the world of, promotion, when you're, promoting strippers, and, I've heard naked dancers at private parties, we're not talking about some high upscale situation. We're talking about just like, some one-offs, and how just the way that whole thing is set up, with that whole industry. It's not a safe industry. And there are a lot of shady people that are involved in that. So I'm not saying Mo is a shady person, but I don't know that. He could be involved. Is he? I don't know. I'm not saying he is, but I do know that being in that business that he's in and doing the line of work that he does and having the associations that he does on an every single day basis in those environments with those people, somebody's bound to come into contact with somebody in a sketchy way that's not on the up and up, whether he's that person or it's somebody else. Okay. So, yeah, unfortunately, my personal opinion, I personally feel like she's either one, being held somewhere, maybe she denied somebody's advance or, she didn't want them, they assumed they could get something from her that she wasn't willing to give up and they don't like rejection. Or maybe somebody took advantage of her and, left her somewhere. Or or, I hate to say it, but it's also a possibility that, because she's surrounded by these people that are associated with shady people, and they may be shady as well. I don't know. But because she's around these people, she could have been put in a situation where she is being trafficked herself. She seems to be a tough girl, and I don't think she'd do it without a fight. But, it doesn't take much to drug somebody, especially if you have more than one person involved, but it doesn't take much to get you in a position to be drugged, which is what they'd probably have to do to, get her to comply. And if people are right in saying that, they've seen her being moved from motel to motel in these areas where prostitution is happening, and I can probably say 90% sure that there's some trafficking happening there. There's drug dealing happening there. I wasn't born yesterday. I know what, I've lived through, I've lived a life with people that are involved in those things. So, I know what's going on when that kind of stuff is in play. I personally think, I'm going to try to keep hope alive and say she's probably still out there and she's alive. She just needs to be found and helped out of that situation. If she is being, trafficked, I don't believe she is doing anything willingly. I don't think she's gone because she wants to be gone. I don't think she'd choose a life like that and leave her kids behind or her family. But yeah, so I don't see that anybody's really watching, but, for those of you that see this after it's posted, feel free to chime in. I'll respond to your messages. Hopefully on some of these podcasts moving forward, I'll have some people that can join me and we can discuss things together. I'm probably not the coolest person to just sit and listen to, but I wanted to give some information about her. So, I don't know if you can really see the flyer. Once the live ends, I'll put the flyer in the comments. So if you want to print some or, spread it on your social media, you can. But Marissa, according to her report, she's 25 years old. She's approximately 260 pounds, 5'4". So she's about my size, but she's got a good badunkabunk. That's not, I don't have one of those. So she's probably built a little differently, but, she's a beautiful young woman. She's got brown eyes. Her hair at the time had black and blonde braids in. If somebody does have her, or if she's been drugged and she's helpless somewhere waiting, trapped, whatever, she may not have her braids in anymore. They may have taken it out. I believe her mom shared a picture. Her hair is maybe about right here, when it's not in braids. But I'd like to get the word out and share across the world, not even just across the country. If she is being trafficked, they move people pretty quick. They have various means and ways of moving people. They can move them in cars, trucks. They typically aren't going to move them in like a airport, in a public airport, because they'll be seen unless they disguise them. But, most common mode of travel, I'm sure, is going to be across the freeways, especially the busy ones. Believe it or not, there's a lot of hotbeds of trafficking all over our country here in the United States. I probably have to say that Atlanta and Houston are some of the hottest areas for trafficking. So definitely, if you're in those areas, keep your eye out. Please share, post, put this out everywhere. If you're afraid for your life or afraid to be known, when you call the number that you see scrolling across the bottom of my broadcast here, 336-373-1000. And that's Greensboro and Guilford County Crime Stoppers there in North Carolina. They're familiar with Marissa's case. You can be anonymous on the call. You can even go to their website and put a tip in that way, and be anonymous. Okay. So, I just ask that y'all share this, share her flyer, get the word out. If you have any information, please call the tip line. Feel free to share it with me as well. I'm happy to pass along anything, but that's just third-party information. But I myself am going to continue to look into everything that I know about, which I have not even scratched the surface to share with y'all, at least not yet. But what else was I going to say? Some people may not know that trafficking victims, that are SWs, they can be taken underground. There is, from what I know, there is an underground trafficking network where they I'm hoping y'all can catch on to what I'm trying to say, because I'm trying not to use the words, but where they assault women and men and boys and children underground. So they never have to come up. You wouldn't see them walking around in the street. So, nobody may not see her at all. But there could be somebody who is underground, or who was trapped with her, or did work the strip or a motel, or know a person that may be holding her, or maybe homeless, or may have seen her because she was drugged, or maybe she snapped and lost her mind, or maybe she was hurt. I mean, we just don't know. So we want to get this out everywhere, and we want y'all to be vigilant and to look at her face and remember what she looks like, and to spread the word, spread it on your social media. A lot of people just don't share these things on their social media pages. Not really sure why or how that would impact your business in a negative way. It shows that you're a caring person. It shows that you can relate, and if something happened to one of your loved ones like this, I'm sure you'd want people to share. So please share this message, share this video, share her poster, share her picture. Don't give up. Even if you hear the crazy stuff out there, which I've heard it all. I've heard all kinds of bad stuff about her. Some of it is probably true. Doesn't mean I'm judging her. Okay. I'm not judging her, not one bit, but there's a lot of relevant information that I'm going to speak on my next podcast. Okay. I'm going to be on here doing this every day until I feel like, it's reached a point, and I'll turn and start covering other cases as well. But you're definitely going to see me every day, maybe even multiple times a day, because I want to make sure that this story is out there. All right. So I want to thank everybody who's tuned in. Haven't seen too many people hop on. I've maybe seen one or two viewers a couple times. But hopefully this will reach some folks because of the hashtags and her name. And if anybody's interested in, joining me on the panel, or asking questions, or you have questions you'd like me to address on my next podcast, feel free to drop them in the comments, tag some friends and family, hit the follow button. Okay, I ask everybody to hit that follow button on my page. My main page for the podcast is going to be at Tea Talks with Teresa. So I'll move. You can see it there at the bottom. All right. I can be found on most major social media channels, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I post more on some than others. So hit that follow button, subscribe. Plan to see a lot more of me. I'm probably going to talk about some other cases as well. But please spread the word. Okay. Until next time, I hope y'all have a beautiful Sunday. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Have a good day.